Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of MCR Analysis. In this episode we will be going to analyze a game from myself. So here in the west seat this is me right now, and in this game we will see that what happens if you know what you're doing and you get lucky, or you are facing opposition that is maybe not as good, right? So, yeah, in this game, obviously, I am going to be lucky in a lot of moments, but to be able to profit from being lucky, that is also something that you should be capable of, right? So, in this game, we will be looking at what I'm doing. And remember, here for every decision, I only have 10 seconds to decide. So there also will be some mistakes that I've noticed later. So let's start right into the first hand. Okay, so here already in this first discard, you already have a choice of calling this tile, right? And certainly it is an option that you can consider. But if you do this, then obviously you are limiting yourself to a couple of hands, right, that you can go for. Here, if you call this, you probably would need to force a half flush, where you only have 3 completed shapes right now for it. So it is a bit too restrictive in my opinion, and it is still early in the game. So I would suggest skipping this tile and explore our options after we draw a couple of tiles. So also this tile you could call, but again, for the same reason, it is too early to decide the direction of our hand, right? If you call this and you don't draw any circle tiles in the future, well, you are just in a terrible spot at this point. So I also skipped this, and here I draw quite a useful tile, so I would suggest again, as in every hand, if you want to explore your options, just discard all of the honor tiles first and then see what happens. Okay, so when this tile comes out here, what happens is that you can call into something that's called a prime shape. What is a prime shape? Well, it is a shape that is either here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, 8, 9, right? And it's called a prime shape because it is pretty useful in a lot of the fans that are possible. And one of such fan is mixed straight, as displayed right here, right? So if you call this, right, even if you don't see an immediate pathway to mixed straight, for example, you can still call it because you might draw into it later, right? So there's always a good call here to leave you with a lot of flexibility still open. Because if I had called the 7 earlier, then it would have been impossible for me to go for mixed straight, for example. But now, if I call the 4 of circles, then I can still go for it later. So this is why I call this tile here and discard the east wind. Okay. So after drawing the 6 of bamboo here, right, we see already a good shape around this 5 of bamboo. So now after this draw, you can already imagine something like this occurring on our hand, right? And then we only need to draw something around this 5 of characters to be able to have a good fan, a good goal that we can aim for, right? So now we have to decide what is the most useless tile in our hand. And for the matter of fact, it could be the one of bamboo, right? So I don't see any fan that we can make quickly enough that uses the one of bamboo. And also the 3 and the 2 of bamboo have already been discarded. So I think I'll throw this tile here. It gets called. And now we draw the 7, which also does not contribute much, so we just discard it right away. Okay, now with this draw, we draw something very useful, since we get a good shape around the lower pinzu here, that we can call, for example, the 1 of circles, the 4 of circles, right, to have a pair and a sequence. So here I discard the 9 of characters just to be able to preserve all of my options open, since as discussed here in this example, the 5 of characters is the most important tile now for our hand, right? We only need to draw anything around this 5 of characters in order to be able to have a ready fan for our hand, right? So let's see what happens. So here, discard a couple of tiles, and now we draw around the 5 of characters, right? It's true that if we have kept the 9 of characters, we would also have drawn something around the 9 of characters, but if the 5 of characters also accepts this tile, that is also good enough for us. So if we now look at what we have, so we have confirmed shapes 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. That means that in order to get a good fan into our hand, we need the 6, 7, 8 of bamboo to form the mixed shifted chows. And therefore, we can now discard either the 9 of characters or the 5 of bamboo. I discard here the 9 of bamboo. Of course, I meant 5 of bamboo. 5 of bamboo or 9 of bamboo. Okay, so now as this tile comes out, of course, we want to call this tile to be one away from calling, right? And it is very important that you can only call this tile for the pung. Okay, you can also call the 3, 4 of circles for the pung, because every time you call and you want to go for mixed shifted chows, you need to be sure that you have 8 fan at the end, right? Because mixed shifted chows is only 6 fan. But here with this call and discarding the 5 of bamboo, we are one away from calling. And now we draw until we are ready for calling. And here we come this tile for 1 extra fan, and we draw into a ready hand. And accounting the fan that we have enough, right? 6 for the mixed shifted chows. We have a concealed Kong with a pung of terminals that is already 8, and a middleweight as well. So we have 9 fan, and now the hand is ready, and we can skip to the end and see if I get it. And I get this tile with self-draw for a total of 15 fan. So again, I mentioned I got lucky this game, and of course self-drawing the winning tile is quite lucky, right? So let's move on to the next hand. Okay, so in this hand you have only 2 suits right now, so there is no immediate mixed shifted chow or anything like this available at the moment. But imagine if you draw like the 1 or the 3 of characters, you can already imagine having like a pure straight, direction, right? But you still need to draw one more tile for this to be happening. So here again, I would suggest just discarding all of the honor tiles and see what happens. Okay, here with this discard we can call into a prime shape, right? So we can call into the 7, 8, 9 of circles, which in this case is a very solid option, right? Because you already have the 7, 8, 9 of bamboo. So I think here I was calling this tile here and discard more honor tiles. So here with this draw, right, we already have a potential direction for mixed triple chow as well, right? So here both options, the pure straight and the mixed triple chow, are now on the table as possible fans to go for. Okay, so here we can make a good shape in the circle suit. So the tiles that do not contribute to our plan in forming the pure straight or the mixed triple chow is either the 5 of circles or the 9 of circles. So I discard the 9 of circles because drawing a pair into the 5 of circles has one more acceptance than the 9 of circles. So here I draw into the 3 of bamboo characters, which revives the plan for the pure straight, right? So now we immediately have going for this plan because we are 2 tiles away, which we can call. So here I would probably discard the 5 of circles because who knows, maybe you draw into the 9 of bamboo still, right? It's still too early to give up the plan for the mixed triple chow, right? So just discard the 5 of circles. Okay, so now after this tile, of course, this tile should not be called, because if you call this tile, you cannot go for either of the plans of the so you cannot go for the plan of the pure straight anymore, right? Because for the pure straight you need to be able to fit 3 sequences into our hand with 1 sequence already called. You cannot call for another sequence. So here, although this tile completes a sequence, you shouldn't call this one. Pong! It gets pawned anyway, so let's move on. So here, Pong! Discard all of the tiles that do not fit in our plan. And here I can discard the 3 of circles because I don't want to call into this sequence anyway. So I just discard it, and I think that the 3 of bamboo is a bit safer to discard later on into the game. Pong! So here with this draw, right, also probably why I kept the 3 of bamboo, is again keeping all of your options open. Now after this draw of the 1 of bamboo, we further have the option of going for a mixed straight, right? And this all became possible because we called the prime shape at the beginning of the game. Because now after, if we discard the 2 of circles, we can call for the 2 of bamboo and be 1 away from calling for the mixed straight. So here this tile does not contribute to our hand, so we can just discard this right away. So now we draw the 2 of bamboo, and after this draw we can discard here, for example, the 9 of bamboo, or we can also discard the 2 of characters, right, since 2 of these tiles are already thrown. So here I discard the 9 of bamboo, since if I would get the 1 of characters from the player to our left, I would obviously go for the pure straight, since it's worth 16 instead of 8 fan. So this is why I want to keep the option of the pure straight alive still. So here this tile obviously we cannot call. And now this tile is exactly the tile we need. We call this tile for the mixed straight, and it gets pawned away, right? So now the situation is quite dire, right? We cannot, so there's only one more 5 of characters still available, right? So after this pawn, right, the 5 of characters is very hard to get. So I immediately here discard the 2 of characters because I want to maximize my chances of drawing the ready hand by drawing either the 1 of bamboo or the 4 of bamboo, right? Again, the 2 of bamboo is already twice this, 2 of characters already twice discarded. So, and now the final tile here that I would have needed is, or got called. So here at this point, the only option for me to maybe win the hand is going to be going for a all melded hand, right? So the mixed straight is simply not available after this Khan. So I just call the tiles, and somebody won, right? So here sometimes you will run into this situation where your only option currently is just simply unavailable because of a Khan, or someone pawned your tile and another one discarded the last one immediately after, right? This can happen, and then you need to find alternatives or start defending, right? So that was unfortunate, but we move to the next hand. So here our first discard should be an honor tile that is not a pair, right? A pair is still good. So we start discarding, and that was a very good draw, and now we discard one more. Okay. And that was also a very good draw. So now, what are our options here in this hand? Well, our hand currently right now is 1 away from calling. And the question is, which tile should you discard? So, is there any tile here that we can call to be 1 away from calling with a valid, or to be calling with a valid Fan? And the answer is there is, right? And we are ready if we can call either the 8 of circles or the 8 of bamboo. Why? Because imagine we have the following hand, right? So we have this, we have this, we have this, and 2 south winds with the 8 of bamboo called, right? Imagine this 8 of bamboo was pawned by us, right? Then we can win on the 8 of circles and the 8 of circles only. Because then what we have is something called a chicken hand, right? This is a hand that is otherwise worth 0 points, right? And the call of the 8 of bamboo to open our hand is quite important, because then we lose Fan, which is what we want for a chicken hand. We lose the concealed hand, and you cannot win on the 5 of circles, because then we would have mixed double chow, which is 1 Fan, right? So you can only win on the 8 of circles, but still we are 1 away from calling. But we want to discard here, or you have to discard either the 6 of characters or the 2 of circles. Now here the clearly best discard is the 2 of circles, which is what I did. Why is that so? Because you still have the option of going for an all chow's hand, an all simples hand, and the 6 of characters here, it clearly contributes to the plan, because if you draw something around it, you can still go for mixed triple chow or mixed shifted chows. So this is why I keep the 6 of characters for now. And I'm waiting to call either the 8 of bamboo or the 8 of circles.
Pong.
So here this draw, although it looks good, right, it does not contribute to the plan of either the chicken hand or drawing around an all chows all simples hand. Why can't we use the 7 of bamboo here? Well, if we accept the 7 of bamboo into our hand, it becomes very difficult to go for a chicken hand, because let me show you this. So imagine we have the 5, 6, 7, and then we accept the 7 of bamboo into our hand. We would probably need to throw away the 6 of characters, right? So here we have this, we have this, we have this, and we have 2 souths, right? So let's see what happens if we call the 6 of bamboo, right? If we get the 6 of bamboo, we would have this. We have this. Are we ready for chicken hand in this case? Well, no, because either the 5 and the 8 of circles gives us a mixed double chow, which makes chicken hand impossible, right? So let's imagine we can call the 8 of circles, right? So we have this, and then we would need to discard the 7 of bamboo anyway, right? Because the 9 of the 9 of bamboo was pawned, and it is the last tile. So we would have to settle on the wait for the 8 of bamboo anyway. So the 7 of bamboo is completely useless here. So we can discard it right away. And now we draw around an all chows all simples hand, and now we can give up the option of chicken hand by discarding the south wind, hoping for either the 5 of characters or the 5 of circles for a mixed triple chow, right? So we want to have this. But of course we can also draw the tile for being ready ourselves, right? So here, after this draw, the clearly best discard is the 7 of circles, because this 4 of characters gives you 1 additional acceptance that you can call for, right? So previously you only had the option of having a mixed triple chow, but with the introduction of the 4 of characters, you can also go for mixed shifted chows using the 4 of characters, which looks like this. So you gain an additional acceptance of the 8 of circles.
Pong. 吃.
So here again, same principle. The 4 of characters is quite useful. And this tile also does not do anything. And now we call the 8 of circles and wait for the 5 of characters.
Pong.
It gets pawned, but that is not a problem, because we can still have the option of a mixed triple chow, right? Or we get the 8 of circles anyway,
吃.
right? And now we wait for the 5 of characters, and let's see if we get this.
虎.
And we got the tile quite quickly. Okay, so now let's go to the next hand. Okay. So already here in the first round we already can make our first decision here. The hand we are looking at is very bad, right? You have lots of single honors. You have no obvious pathway to knit it, right? If we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8, which is far too low to be going for a knitted hand. Now, you notice you have a pretty good shape here in the bamboo suit for in upper tiles, right? You also have only upper tiles in the circle suit, and you have already 1-9 in the character suit. So what I was thinking here is, okay, my hand looks terrible, but if I already see like the upcomings of an upper 4 hand, right, then I really want to call this 6 of circles, right? So here I already pre-called 6 of circles, hoping to draw something around an upper 4, right? Because I don't saw any other option at this point, and I just start discarding on tiles. And here I already got a 1 shape more. We're going for upper 4, and here I draw 1 more tile again. And I discard all of my honor tiles first. Okay. So here, after this draw, right, we should discard the 1 of characters here. Or the 3 of bamboo, doesn't matter because we want to be going for upper 4. We draw 1 more tile. And here we can already start calling for an upper 4, right? It also matters. It doesn't really matter which tile you call, because you will be always waiting for the 8 of bamboo. Right? So you can call something. And here I already discarded the 9 of characters. While thinking about it, I should have discarded the 5 of circles, right? But since we already have 3 completed shapes in our hand, right? We need the 8 of characters, the 8 of bamboo, the 8 of circles, right? The 9 of characters doesn't really contribute that much to our hand anyway. So unfortunately I have to discard this as well. And just hoping here for the 8 of circles, which is only 1 available at this point. Here you either discard the 5 of circles or the 5 of bamboo, but here I was already a bit scared of the player to my right since he already made 3 calls with bamboo suit. So I kept the dangerous tile in my hand for a little bit longer, right? Now it is confirmed to be safe and I can discard it right away. Okay, so now here's a decision to make, right? What is the tile to discard? You have the same acceptance with either this discard of the 9 of circles or the 8 of characters, right? So 3 of the 7 of characters are already out, and 3 of the 8 of circles are already out, right? So here the decision should be, in my opinion, the 9 of circles, because if you look at the opponent's hand, he already made 2 calls in the character suit, and he might be waiting for a character tile, right? So I discard the 9 of circles. Now I draw the 8 of bamboo, which makes a ready hand. Now I can wait for the 7 of characters, which is only once available, or I can wait for the 6 of characters and the 7 of circles, where we will count 1 of the 7 of circles is still available, but none of the 6 of characters, right? Both are can already be seen. So the weights are equal. And the 7 of characters, right? It looks like it could be available, right? But the opposing player could very well have 7, 8, 9 of characters in his hand, right? It is very well a possibility. So, and after seeing the 6 of circles 3 times here on my own hand, and 3 of the 8 of circles, 3 of the 9 of circles, I expect that the 7 of circles is likely to be available as well, right? And the opposing player and the player to my right will surely throw this tile, right? So after the discards he made in the bamboo suit, I was quite sure that he was either going for a full flush in bamboo or lower 4, right? So the 7 of circles will surely come out from the right and from the opposing player. So therefore I waited for the last 7 of circles, and there was no more upgrade to be waiting for. Now it's just, we can skip to the end and see if I get this.
虎
And I drew the last 7 of circles by myself, right? So again, pretty lucky from me. Okay, so let's move on to the next hand.
吃吃
So again, here we discard our lone owner tile, and we draw into the 5 of characters. Now, the first fan that should be immediately obvious in this hand is the mixed straight that looks like this. So here, this shape here, we have good shapes for the mixed straight here. So our priority should be to discard tiles that do not contribute to this option. But again, you need to think about flexibility, right? Are there other fans that could be possible in this hand, right? So by drawing another tile maybe. So you might also see the possibility of a mixed triple chow, like so. You also must be seeing a mixed straight of this shape, right? This could also be possible. And you might also have the possibility of drawing something like a pure straight or something. So actually, my discard, I think, was the 5 of characters, because we want to be having the shape 4, 5, 6 in characters anyways, right? Or, okay, I discarded the 1 of characters, since it also did not contribute to any of these plans that I mentioned. Right? But here I should be discarding the 5 of characters, right? Okay, so here you notice that the 3 of characters was discarded twice, which I could have called, right? I could have done that, but in my opinion, having the 4, 5, 6 of characters is way too important, right? Because it contributes to many of these plans. But if I would call this tile, that is also possible, but then it forces me to go for this one, right? It forces me to go for the mixed shifted chows, which by itself is also not a bad plan, right? So if I think about it, I should have called this tile, right? I think I should have called this tile to go for mixed triple chow here, mixed shifted chows. But okay, I didn't do that. Right?
吃
So here, now we are at an interesting crossroads, right? We have here what's called too many options available, right? So we have pure straight there, mixed triple chow there, right? Mixed straight there. So here we are forced to choose, right? We are forced to choose. And in my case, I think I discarded here the 9 of circles, because I noticed the player to my left, he is calling circle tiles, right? He already called 2 7 of circles, so he won't be discarding circle tiles anytime soon for me to call. right? But he will discard lots of bamboo and character tiles for me to call, right? So therefore, I can likely expect shapes forming in the bamboo and the character suit. So here, okay, I discarded the 8 of bamboo, right? Here, and as I said, he is feeding me the bamboo tiles, and now I should be aiming for the mixed straight at this point. So here I discard the 8 of characters, the 9 of characters, right? Aiming towards the mixed straight. The following one. So here this one, and this one. Okay, so here I do this, and now I can call, throw the 9 of circles, and be 1 away from calling for mixed straight. So that was an unfortunate draw. Here I prematurely discard the 4 of bamboo before it becomes too dangerous. Right? The opposing player already has a lot of bamboo calls. Okay. So here is an interesting moment. Right? Here you have the option of calling the 7 of circles, which here it is a good idea for calling. Why? Because if you call this tile, you are still 1 away from calling, right? But you have the option of calling all of the tiles to get into a ready hand, right? So here we discard the 8 of circles. So for a mixed straight, you would have to call the 1 of circles, right? Or the 9 of bamboo. Oh, sorry, not the 9 of bamboo. You have to call the 1 of circles. But if you call anything else, right, for example, the 9 of bamboo, right, you are having a ready hand still, but now you would have the fun of melded hand, right? 4 melded sets winning off a discard on a pair weight, right? And you want to maximize your chances of getting into a ready hand. So here, this looks quite funny, but I think it is the correct decision. And now we can call this tile. It was actually the best tile. We are waiting for mixed straight and melded hand. And here my discard is a 7 of bamboo, since it is twice discarded, and the 8 of bamboo is only once discarded, and we want to maximize the chances of us winning on a discard. And we get this immediately, right? For a total of 18 fan. Now let's move on to South 2, where we again discard all of the honor tiles first, and here we can call a prime shape with a 4, 5, 6 of characters. And if we can do so, we should do so. Discard all of the honor tiles, and now we can start thinking about the hand. And here we have a couple of options, right? We already can see the formings of a pure straight, right? You only need the 2 and the 3 of characters, right? Then you can get something like this. But we also have the shapes like this available for us, so it would be nice also to draw something around the 4 of bamboo to get a mixed triple chow, right? And the tile that does not contribute to any of these plans is either the 8 of circles or the 1 of circles, right? So here I think I discard the 8 of circles here. Okay, now we discard the 1 of circles, and we have here, I think for the first time in the series, a shape that is one away from calling, but it is a two floating shape, right? And as I said, you need to draw the 2 or the 3 of bamboo, or the 2 and the 3 of characters to be calling, right? And the thing is, you have to draw it by yourself. But these are 4 different tiles that you can draw, and it's still early in the game, so the probability is quite high that this happens.
吃
So now we click through everything and see if we can see something here. Okay, now we drew the 5 of bamboo. Now, is this a tile that we should keep? So if we keep this tile, we are technically calling, but we do not have enough fun to win the hand, right? But the thing is, we should keep this tile for a ready hand, right? Why is this the case? Because although we do not have enough fun right now, we have the option of upgrading our hand, right? What do I mean by this? Well, imagine this hand right here, right? So 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, right? This is mixed triple chow, right? We do not have this in our hand currently, but if we draw the 2 of circles or the 3 of bamboo, right? We can also call these tiles. We can make ready for mixed triple chow this way, right? So suddenly we don't have to draw one of 4 tiles by ourselves. We can call 2 tiles, right? And this is not everything. We can also make ready with mixed triple chow like so, where we can call the 6 of circles or the 6 of bamboo, right? So we have a ready hand. We are 1 away from calling, technically, with a valid fan, but we have 4 tiles that put us into ready, and we can call all the 4 tiles, right? Which is better than having 4 tiles, but you have to draw it by yourselves, right? It is much better to have 4 different tiles where you can call everything. So this is why this is the correct play. Now we click through and see if we get the upgrade. Right, this doesn't do anything.
吃
Still don't have anything.
碰
Okay. Now with this tile, this is something I missed. You also draw into a ready hand with mixed triple chow like this, waiting for the 6 of bamboo. And now we are this is a very important detail that I missed, and it goes all the way back to the 6 of bamboo right here. I
碰
actually forgot this, but although this tile gives us mixed shifted chows, I did not take this tile due to the fact that the 6 of bamboo is the last tile in the game, right? I completely forgot this. And if we count the fan that I get from getting the 6 of bamboo, right? We have 4 fan for last tile. We have 2 fan for all chows. We have 1 fan for short straight in a character suit. We have 1 fan for mixed double chow for 4, 5, 6. So getting the 6 of bamboo from a discard is exactly 8 fan. And if we can win on the 6 of bamboo anyway, here I decided to sacrifice these additional 6 fan from the mixed shifted chows to be able to preserve the upgrade options, right? To be able to win off the 3 of bamboo instead, right? Maybe by calling the 2 of circles. And I also figured the player to my left is going for bamboo, right? So I was thinking, okay, maybe he needs the 4 of bamboo. He wants to pawn the 4 of bamboo, right? And the 6 of bamboo is already only once available, so maybe he wants it, right?
吃
So here he calls it, and I still wait for the upgrade, but he deals in the last 6 of bamboo, right? So it was exactly 8 fan here. So now let's go to the next hand. And yeah, discard honor tiles. And okay, now we can start thinking about the hand. And here it is not immediately obvious what fans you should go for, but in my case here, I think I started by discarding the 9 of characters, because it didn't seem like that this tag would contribute much to our hand in the future, right? You can already see 1 7 of characters, 1 8 of characters, right? And there is no immediate fan that is visible around the 9 of characters, right? So
吃
just discard this one. And now I think I discard the 8 of circles, since it also doesn't seem like it will contribute to any fan in the future.
碰
Okay. So now after this draw, I believe I discarded the 6 of bamboo in preparation to move towards the fan lower 4, right? Okay, I didn't do that. Yeah, maybe I should have done this, so who knows what I thought here. Yeah, I definitely should have gone for the 6 of 6 of bamboo previously, right? So here I already realized that
杠
I made a mistake.
碰
But it is not too late to
Pong.
still go for lower 4. Okay, here after this discard, maybe we can
Pong.
get
碰
7 pairs or all pongs,
Pong.
but here I decided to just commit to lower 4. This was an excellent draw. And now at this point I wished I would have my 1 of circles back into my hand.
吃
Now we discard the save tile.
吃
And now this tile unfortunately is quite dangerous, so discard the 7 of characters
Oh.
and somebody else won the hand. Okay, so definitely here mistake was the 1 of circles, right? So of course only with 10 seconds on the clock, right, this can happen. But here in the analysis I immediately spotted this one. Okay, so now here in this hand, here if we look at this hand, is already looking quite solid here. And of course what we want is drawing something in the character suit to be able to go for the fans of mix shifted or anything like this one. So here I discarded the 1 of circles because I didn't see anything that was possible around this tile here. Okay, here you shouldn't carelessly open your hand, so don't take this one, and now that is a very good draw. And here I think the correct discard should be the 1 of characters, right? Since the 1 of characters does not actively contribute to any fan, right? So what you can immediately see here that could happen around the 4 of characters is a mix shifted chouse that looks like this, right? Which does not need the 1 of characters, right? You do not have mixed triple chow that involves this tile. But here I decided to fix the shape in the bamboo suit first, which is also fine, but now in retrospect I would have liked to discard the one of characters.
吃
Okay, now with this draw we immediately get another option of a mixed straight, looking like this one. Right, so this is now the immediate obvious plan in our hand, and we discard the one of characters. And we are one away from calling. Right? So okay, here I should discard the 5 of circles, right, to give us one more tile to be calling for. So here, right, again, the tiles that do not contribute to our plan are the 9 of bamboo or the 7 of characters. Right here it is fine to discard either of them. Right, I discarded the 7 of characters.
碰
So here, again, with this draw of the 2 of characters, we get one more option, right? Again, what I mentioned in the beginning, the mixed shifted chows now also becomes an option. So we gain the additional acceptance of the 3 of characters. And now we draw into a ready hand. Of course, we want to be waiting on the mixed straight now, waiting on the 5 of characters. Now we skip to the end of the hand and see if I get this tile.
虎
Somebody else won, right? So this can also happen. Now let's move on to the next hand. So here again, discard honor tiles, but if it's a pair, right? Now we need to decide, do we keep the honor pair or not? And in this case, the pair seems to be quite useful still. And here I think what I might discard was the 1 of bamboo, since it doesn't seem like it will contribute to any fun in the future. Okay, I discarded this tile, which also, right, if you look at it a bit more closely, it also didn't seem like it will contribute to any meaningful fun in the future, right? What you can see here maybe is the makings of a mixed triple chow, which would require the 6, 7, 8 of characters, right? And not the 9 of characters. So here I discarded this tile, right? And now after the draw of the 6 of circles, right, I can already also see the possibility of a mixed triple chow like so, right, which also becomes a possibility. So I discarded the 9 of circles here,
碰
but again I maybe should have discarded the 1 of bamboo at some point, right? I do it now. Okay, so with this draw I already see that this hand is probably going to be an all chows, all simples hand of some sort, right? Definitely all simples. And to get these extra to fun, I now discard, I think, the 2 south winds in our hand, right?
吃
Okay. Now, we draw the 2 of characters. Is the 2 of character useful in any way? And the answer here is no, right? Even if we draw the 3 of characters or in the character suit and the 3 of bamboo in the bamboo suit, we do not have the shape required to go for a 4, 5, 6 mixed triple chow, pure mixed shifted chows, right? We do not have the 4 or the 5 of circles yet, and the 4 of circles already twice discarded. So here what I did is I fixed the shape in the circle suit, since I already know I want to be building a sequence around here. But yeah, discarding the 2 of characters would also have been fine.
吃
Here I call the 8 of circles, right?
吃
In preparation for a mixed shifted chows, right? Which is possible in the following way, for example, right? Of course, 6, 5, 6, 7, right? This is only one of the possibilities on how mixed shifted chows can come together, right? It can also come together with the 7, 8, 9 of bamboo, right? It's also possible. And now we have to decide on one discard, and the tile that does not contribute to any of these plans, I believe, is the 8 of characters, right? So here we discard this one. Right, now we keep the 2 of characters because getting the 3 of characters already puts us one away from calling. It's just one additional acceptance here. And now we have to decide, what do we do? And here we should carefully consider our options. All right, so what do we have here? Okay, so we for sure have this shape here. And now we need to consider. We have many different possibilities of getting a mixed shifted chows in our hand, right? So we already have the 4, 5, 6, right? And maybe the 5, 6, 7 is already enough for giving us a mixed shifted chows here. So to maximize the probability of having a ready hand, we need to discard a tile that gives us maximum chances, right? So here, as we already have these shapes for sure in our hand, our discard should be, I believe, the 9 of bamboo, right? It looks quite good, because if we discard this, we can draw anything around the 2 of characters and the 4 of bamboo to make a ready hand. So I think that is correct discard. I discarded this tile right here, right? Which is actually also a very good option, since we can call now also the 8 of bamboo or the 7 of characters to make a ready hand, right? So by discarding this tile, we also keep the option of this mixed shifted chows open, right?
吃
So now we have lots of acceptance. That was a backfire, right? That was indeed a backfire. And we draw some more tiles, and now we are ready, right? We discard the 9 of bamboo and are waiting on. Now think about what tile we're waiting for. We are only waiting for the 5 of bamboo, right? Because we need to have this mixed shifted chows in our hand, and we only get this by drawing the 5 of bamboo. Okay, but if we somehow get the 7 of characters into our hand, right, we should immediately call this tile, right? Because if we call this tile, then we have this shape. We already have this shape. Then we suddenly expand our weight by one tile, namely the 8 of bamboo. So let's see if we get this tile. Okay, now we get this draw right here. And at this point, I made a mistake, right? I discarded this tile right away, right? I still remember that I made a mistake here. What I should have done is discarding the 6 of bamboo, because of the exact same reason as before. We want to have the 5, 6, 7 of bamboo into our hand, and if we discard the 6 of bamboo, we confirm this shape, waiting for the 2 and the 5 of circles, which we can both win on, right? We cannot win on the 8 of bamboo, but we expand our weight by 1 tile, namely the 2 of bamboo. So here I definitely missed this chance, right? Here I had it again. I still didn't see it, right? But I get the 5 of bamboo.
胡
So that was also quite lucky, right? Despite making a mistake here. So let's move on to this hand here. And we discard mono tiles. Getting also some good draws in.
吃 碰
And now we can start thinking. And here, the obvious plan, in my opinion, the obvious plan is to going for mixed triple chow that has the following shape here, right? These shapes are already in your hand, ready to be called. So you want to maximize your acceptance in all of the other shapes. So you start by either discarding the 9 of characters or the 7 of circles. Here I decide for the 9 of characters because you still need a pair, and the 9 of characters is already once discarded. Okay. Now this draw here, right? It might seem that you want the 3 of characters, but the 6 of characters is also quite good, because now other doors, other options are opening up, right? Now you can already see the makings of a mixed straight that looks like this, right? So here you should be discarding the 7 of circles, since it will not contribute to any of these plans.
碰吃
Okay. Now we draw the 7 of bamboo and are calling for the 2 of circles. The hand is completed, and now we can skip to the end and see if I get it.
胡
And I got it eventually. So 2 tiles after that. Now let's go to the next hand. And here, of course, it is way too early to be calling here already for the 5 of characters. But now if I think about it, I probably should have called this tile already. Because here I should have been going for the pure shifted chows, right? By calling with a 3 and a 4 of characters, right? Which puts me 2 tiles away, namely the 1 of characters and the 7 of characters for pure shifted. So I think here, by skipping this tile, I made already a small mistake here. Okay, I start discarding honor tiles, and here again, the 3 of characters. Question is, should I call this or not? And again, in my opinion, it was a bit too early for me to be committing to a specific direction just now. But I think that if you decide to call this tile, it is not a big mistake, right? But you are relying on a draw into the circle tiles and the lower circle tiles to be able to get your mixed mixed shifted or mixed triple chow going.
吃
So here I just skipped this tile. Okay. So now at this point, here I started to look at the options that I had in my hand, and I believe I decided to discard the 2 of bamboo here. Alright, because I only need to draw something around this 5 of circles to be able to go for a mixed shifted or a pure triple chow, a mixed triple chow here. So let's see what happens. Now, with this draw here, again, new doors are opening up. Now I can also go for pure straight, and now we see the advantage of having not called the 2 and the 3 of the characters, right? I can now start discarding them to keep the option of the mix of the pure straight open. Okay, so now we have this tile here, right? And we should call this tile, because now after this call and discarding the 2 of characters, right, we still have all of the options available and are 1 away from calling for the pure straight, right? We need to somehow get this 1 of characters or the 7 of characters into our hand, right? And we also have upgrade options available to the pure the mixed triple chow if needed, right? If we draw like something around the 3 or the 4 of circles. So now we're just waiting for a character tile to drop. So this tile here, although it might look good, right, it doesn't really do anything for our hand, right? But I still keep it anyways. Right, now I've committed for pure straight. Now we draw into a ready hand, and I get this tile immediately for pure straight win. Okay. Now, this here is a very interesting hand, right? So here at this point, I think a good option here is to go for something like a closed hand, right? You already have a good shape in the circle suit, and maybe you draw something around the bamboo suit, right? Draw something around the lower character suit. Then you can go for a mixed straight, for example, looking like this. But since you also have a lot of good shapes that are accepting for an outside hand, right? You should also be keeping a look for the option of an outside hand, right? So the only tile that does not contribute to any of these plans of outside hand or mixed straight is the 4 of characters, which is what I discarded. And here after this draw, getting the east wind immediately from a pawn, here now the only option that is feasible for us is the outside hand, which is why I discarded the 5 of bamboo, right? So now I'm committed for an outside hand, which we are only 2 tiles away from calling, right? So now we improve our chances even more by accepting lots of tiles for an outside shape, and now we discard the 1 of circles and are 1 away from calling, right? So if we either get to call or draw the 3 of bamboo or the 2 of characters, we just wait on a single tile wait on the other terminal. And of course, when you're going for an outside hand, you need to make sure that you have enough fan available. And in our case, if we count, we have the east wind, which is 1, the west wind, the round wind is 2, so 3. Now outside hand 4, so 7, right? Outside hand is for fan. So we need 1 more fan, and we will get it for sure by having a bad weight, right? So we for sure will be having a single weight or an edge weight or middle weight, right? We will for sure be waiting on only 1 tile, so we will have enough fun. But after this discard and this gong right here, we get basically 1 fan in an extra turn for free, and we are lucky and draw into the next can. And now the hand situation has changed dramatically. So now we recalculate the points and look at how many fans are these 2 cans, right? So if we look at two melded kongs, we see that it is 4 fan, we have the round wind, which is 2. We have the east wind, which is 1. So this is already 7 fan. Now, has the situation changed to the previous situation? Well, yes, it did, because now you also accept the 2 of bamboo and the 3 of character draw for ready hand, because now you don't need to have a necessarily outside hand anymore. You only need one more fan for a single tile weight.
吃碰
So here, as I said, we draw into the 2 of characters, bamboo, which before we made these kongs, we would have been forced to throw it away. But now we can make a ready hand, because now we have exactly 8 fan available, waiting for the 2 of characters. And let's skip to the end and see if I get this tile.
胡
And I get this tile here, and if you see the fan, we have exactly 8 fan without flowers. So let's move on to the north round.
碰
So
吃
here we discard the honor tile first. And now we can start to look at our options, right? So this 9 of bamboo, could it be a useful tile, right? And the answer is yes, it could be a useful tile, right? If we draw something around this 9 of bamboo, this hand can become a mixed straight, like so. Let me just draw this out. So if we draw around the 9 of bamboo, right? So it is arguably useful, right? The 7 of circles is also very useful, because if we draw something around that, we can easily make a pure straight like this, right? You might also see the option of going for lower 4 in this hand, which is true, but if you want to go for lower 4, you still need to draw 4 more tiles for the lower 4, right? And for the other options, right, it is just sufficient to draw like 7 or 8 of bamboo or an 8 of 9 of circles. So this is why I decided to discard, I think, the 4 of characters or the 2 of characters. Okay, this is the 2 of characters. And now I draw the 6 of characters. Now, here we are at an important crossroads. Do we keep the 9 of bamboo, right? And I think I did discard the 9 of bamboo here, right? Because after this draw of the 6 of characters, we are 1 away from calling. And whenever you are 1 away from calling, and you need to give up some of the plans that you had, right? So in this case, we give up the mixed straight. You need to make sure that you have enough fan to win, right? In a lot of these scenarios that might play out. And in my case here, for example, now if this hand, and then we imagine if I draw for myself the 5 of characters or the 5 of circles, which would leave me with the following hand. Right? Waiting for the other one. So here, 5 of circles. If this happens, right, and I would get the tile with self-draw, then I have enough fan to win, right? I have 4 fans for fully concealed hand, 2 fans for our chows, 1 fan for the short straight, another fan for a short straight, and now I can count only 1 more here, mixed double chow. And I also have middleweight, right, which is 10 fan. And if you already count 10 fan, then getting the tile from another player is also enough to win the hand, right? So we can even win on the 5 of circles by the discard from another player. So here taking this one away from calling is the correct decision, right? But remember, you have to draw this tile by yourself, right? You cannot call this tile. So now a lot of 5 of circles were already discarded. And now is what I mentioned, or mentioned previously here, the 5 characters. Unfortunately, you cannot call this tile. But now here the situation has changed dramatically. Of course, now the best course of action is again going for the mixed straight, pure straight, since now you can call every tile, right? You don't have to.
吃碰
Now we discard all the dangerous tiles and fully commit to the plan of the pure straight. So let's see if we get one of these tiles, and indeed we're lucky. We're getting the 8 of circles, waiting for the 5 of circles, and let's skip to the end and see if I get this.
胡
And somebody else won the hand, right? This can also happen. Okay, let's move on to this round, North 2. And I remember this was a very interesting hand here,
吃
because after we discard all of the honor tiles, here we discard the 4 of characters. That is quite obvious, because the plan that is immediately striking into your eye is upper 4, right? You have lots of good shapes for upper 4. Okay, so this was the most interesting moment in this hand. Feel free to pause the video and think about what would you discard in this situation. Okay, so I can tell you what I discarded here, and it was the 4 of bamboo, which in retrospect I think is playable, but a small mistake, right? What I should have done is discarding the 7 of characters, right? Because by discarding the 7 characters, we are 1 away from calling. But the problem with this approach is that I can most likely only win by getting the mixed triple chow, like this. So discarding the 7 of characters, then I'm forced to get the 6 of bamboo and the 6 of characters into my hand, right? And then calling for the other tile. Because also technically it is possible after the discard of the 7 of characters to get mixed shifted chows, like so, right? So like this. But this requires the 5 of circles, and I already noticed the 5 of circles was already called 3 times. So the likelihood of this happening is very low. And also, if you manage to draw the 9 of bamboo by yourself, this leaves you with the following closed hand, right? Let me pull this up. So you have this and this, calling for the 6 and 9 of bamboo characters. Now the issue with this hand is that even if you managed to draw this by self-draw, you don't have enough fan to win the hand, right? If you draw the 6 of characters, you have fully concealed hand 4, all chows 6 in total, and then you only have 1 double chow, right? You only have 1 double chow, which is not enough fan. You only have 7 fan, right? So while thinking about this, I thought, okay, it is very early into the game, and I still think that the fun of upper 4, right, is very easy to get here in this spot, right? Every draw in the upper 4 helps your hand a lot at this point, right? So every draw is good, and you can call almost any tile from the player to your left, right? So this is why I think this tile, discarding this tile and sacrificing being one away from ready, is a perfectly viable option here.
吃
So here we already get a good draw immediately, and we keep discarding this shape right here.
碰
And of course, if you can call anything, you
Pong.
immediately call. And now we are again one away from calling, right? 3 turns later, with arguably much more better acceptance than in the previous situation. Okay, now we can here we can already start thinking about, is this an upgrade to our situation? Yes it is, because now we can discard the 8 of characters. Because the 8 of characters only helps with the acceptance on the 7 of characters, which we already called. So we increase our acceptance.
碰
We would have loved to call this tile, but
碰
it is getting punt, so nothing we can do about that. And now the 9 of bamboo is dead, right? Okay, we could call this tile, but it doesn't do anything right now, so we can just skip this one.
碰
And here I would have loved to call this tile for a chance of getting upper tiles, which is, and you only have 7 to 9 into your hand, which is double the fun of upper 4, right? So you go from 12 to 24. So I would have loved to call this tile, but unfortunately
碰
it was called away.
碰
So here we call this, obviously,
碰
and then we have to decide what tile we're waiting for, right? We could discard the 7 of bamboo, but remember, the 9 of bamboo is already dead, so we're only waiting for the 6 of bamboo. And the 6 of bamboo was just discarded, so it's only 3 times available at most, right? And if we discard the 8 of bamboo, then we are waiting on the 7 of bamboo and the 8 of circles, right? Technically we also accept the 5 of circles, but we do not have enough fun to win on this tile, with the only exception being robbing the Kong, right? And having this additional option might prove valuable, right? And furthermore, the 8 of circles is very likely to come out from the player to our right, right? Since he already called 2 bamboos suits and he didn't discard any bamboo, so he's most likely hoarding all of the bamboo tiles. So this is why I discarded here the 8 of bamboo.
吃
It's getting called. And now the hand to the right already looks quite dangerous after the 3 calls and a bamboo discard. But we get the 8 of circles immediately for upper 4. Okay, so again, quite a lucky situation. Okay, let's move on to this hand here, which already looks quite good. And now, what is the correct discard in this spot? And the obvious answer, or the correct answer, is here the 3 of bamboo, which is what I discarded, right? So this tile is completely useless because we want to have the 4 and 5 and 6 of bamboo, not the 3, 4, 5. So why do we want this? Well, we already have this suit ready in the character suit, and then for the mixed triple chow or mixed shifted chow, we only need the 3, 4, 5 of circles, right, which we almost have in our hand right here, right? We are one away from this shape. What we also have as a possibility is a mixed straight that looks like this, right? So the 1 and the 3 of circles, also quite useful for this plan, right? We call the 9 of characters, right? We can move on to mixed straight. We also have the option, if you look at the other possible circle call, is 4, 5, 6 in bamboo, 5, 6, 7 in circles, and then the 6, 7, 8 in characters, giving us another way of completing a mixed shifted chaos. So therefore the 3 of bamboo is absolutely useless in our situation. Discard this one. And again here, although it looks like a pair, we don't want to discard any of these circle tiles because every circle tile was useful in one of these plans that I showed you. Again, same story with this tile.
吃
Okay. Now comes an interesting moment in the game. The question is, should you keep the 7 of bamboo? And here I made a clear mistake by discarding this one. Right? Here I was very focused on these plans that I showed you, which always, in any case, involved the 4 of bamboo. Right? So the 4 of bamboo was useful in any of these plans and not the 7 of bamboo. But drawing the 7 of bamboo here makes you 1 away from calling. Right? And again, if there is a pathway to a ready hand that you have enough fun to win on, you should always take 1 away from calling, right? So the end we would have this 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, and we don't have this tile. And then let's assume you draw something, right? Let's say you draw the the 4 of circles, the self draw for ready hand, right? Then suddenly you have a ready hand and you can win by drawing the 6 of characters by yourself, right? Fully concealed hand, all chows or simples, already 8 fun, right? So there is a way to win the hand, but you need to draw the 6 of characters by yourself at some point, right? But in addition, right? In addition, you leave the chance of upgrading your hand open, right? You can always call or draw the 4 of bamboo later and replace the 7 of bamboo with 4 of bamboo, like so, and suddenly you are back in the game, right? You can also call or draw the 9 of characters, don't win the hand, and switch your weight to the 4 of bamboo, right? For mixed shifted chows, right? You always have the option of upgrading your hand. So therefore keeping the 7 of bamboo is the correct choice. So after this discard, I immediately regretted it, and now I made the correct decision of discarding the 1 of circles, which I should have done previously, right? Again, 1 of circles because we want concealed, fully concealed all chows or simples, right? And this is not an all simples draw, so discard this. This is quite unfortunate, but it didn't do anything anyway, right? So here with this draw, right, we immediately upgrade our chances by getting back the possibility of mixed shifted chows, like so, right? Now the 5, 6, 7 is a useful shape, right? If we can call the 8 of circles or the 6 of characters. And now we draw the 6 of circles, we discard the 9 of circles, and we have a ready hand. But remember, in this spot you can only win by drawing the 6 of characters by yourself, right? In any other case, if you count yourself, you do not have enough fun to win the hand. But not all hope is lost, because in this position you have many upgrade chances to mix shift the chows.
吃
You can call here either the 4 or the 8 of bamboo, or the 4 of circles and the 8 of circles, right? Let me show this to you. If you can call anything, let's say you call the 8 of bamboo, right? Discard the 5 of bamboo, and suddenly you are waiting for the 9 of characters for mix shifted chows, right? And let's say you call the 4 of circles, right? Which leaves your hand like this. You're waiting for the 6 of characters for mix shifted chow, right? So you have lots and lots of upgrading possibilities, although you cannot win by discard from others right now. If you get any of these upgrades, then you can. So here, keep
虎
discarding tiles, and somebody already won, right? And unfortunately here, even if he didn't win the tile, we couldn't have won it, right? Okay, so now we go to the last hand, and here
吃
we first discard the 2 single honors, and then let's see what happens. And okay, now we get some very good draws in, and now the question is, what should we go for, right? And the immediate first plan that should come into your mind is the possibility of having an all types hand, right? So you need a shape in the bamboo suit, a character suit, a circle suit, and wind, which we already have completed, and a dragon. So the dragon tile here is actually quite valuable in our hand. And since we already have good shapes in the bamboo suit, we can afford to lose a little bit of acceptance there and maximize our acceptance of drawing the shape into the character suit. So in this case, the discard should be the 6 of bamboo.
碰
Okay, we already have a completed shape in the
Sure.
circle suit, so that doesn't do anything. Now, this is a very interesting moment. And here again, I will ask you to pause the video and think about your next discard in this spot, right? And the discard which I think is the best discard by far is the 2 of characters. So congratulations if you think about this, and I will explain why this is clearly the best discard, right? So after destroy here, with the 8 of bamboo, you are 1 away from calling, right? And if you discard one of the character tiles, then you confirm 1 away from calling, right? But you might ask, what about all types, right? If you want to go for all types, then the discard choice would be the 2 or the 3 of bamboo, right? Because you want to maximize your acceptance for a shape in a character suit, right? And currently you have maximum acceptance, so any character draw gives you a shape in the character suit. Okay? So if when I discard the 2 of characters, I give up all of the acceptance from the 1 to the 4 of characters. But why did I do that? Well, again, if you draw 1 away from calling, and you want to be 1 away from calling, then you have to think about, do I have enough fun? Are there realistic pathways that I have enough fun to win the hand? Okay, so now let's imagine the different situations that can happen for you to be calling, right? Situation number 1. You draw either the 7 of characters or the red dragon. And the worst option would be drawing the 7 of characters, which leaves you with the following hand. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so let's count how many fan we already have confirmed in our hand. And there are only 2. We have a wind, So we have the prevalent wind, 2 points, and we also have 2 concealed pongs, which is 2 fan. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Oh, sorry about that. We have 4 fan. So where can we get 4 additional fan? Well, by getting a fully concealed hand. So we have to draw the winning tile by ourselves. But since we are waiting for 2 tiles, the 1 and the 4 of bamboo, this is a very realistic option, right? The probability is quite high. So this is actually a good situation to be in. Let's consider the other option. You draw the 1 or the 4 of bamboo to get a ready hand. In that case, my suggestion is to discard the 7 of characters, which leaves you with this hand. So you now look at the fan that already confirmed our hand. Well, it is still the prevalent wind and the 2 concealed pongs, which is 4. But now in addition you have 1 weighted suit, 5, and a single weight. So 6 fan. That means you already have a concealed hand, which is 8. So in this situation you can win by discard on the red dragon from others as well, which is also very good. So there are 4 different tiles currently in this hand that you can draw by yourself to give you a ready hand. Right? So this is why I discarded the 2 of characters. And why not the 7? Well, because if you draw like a 6-7 of characters, then of course it would be better to switch back to the plan of all types, right? But this is only worth it, in my opinion, if you have a shape that has an acceptance of 2, right? Because only then would it be worth it, right? If you draw something like this, then you only can call or draw the 8 of characters to get into a ready hand, compared to being able to draw 4 different tiles by yourself, which is arguably better. So let's see what happens.
吃碰
So eventually I draw the 1 of bamboo by myself. I discard the 7 of bamboo, waiting for the red dragon, which I can take also from others as well. So let's skip to the end of the hand and see if I get it.
胡
Okay, in this case I didn't get it. But again, we finished this hand at the game with plus 385, right? So again, I was lucky at many points into the game, in fact. But I always put myself up into the position of being able to get lucky, right? So I did something with my luck instead of wasting it, right? And even though I made a couple of mistakes this game, right, in the review, of course, I can talk about these, and I hope you learned something as well. And if you liked the analysis, then please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So, and